All right, hey everybody, welcome to this circles video. So I've done some little drawings right here to introduce you to a few important circle vocabulary. We have the radius, which is the distance between from the center of a circle out to its side. And it doesn't matter if it's from center to here, center to here, center to here. Okay, this distance is going to be the same because you're looking at the center of the circle. So this distance is your radius. Now, if you double this length and you go all the way across your circle, you don't stop right there at the center. You do go through your center, but all the way across, that is your diameter. So diameter is going to be double your radius because you have a radius right here, and then you have a radius right here. So if you double your radius, so 1, 2, that equals your diameter. Or if you had your diameter and you cut it in half, that would be your radius. Okay, so these two things are very related. Now you have your area. Your area is the inside of your circle. Okay, and then your circumference. This one's kind of confusing. Your circumference is the distance around your circle. Okay, the distance around. Let me give you a quick example. If I had my coaster right here, okay, and I wanted to know what is the circumference of this circle. I want to know how much distance goes around this circle. So I have some ribbon here. Your circumference is going to be this length. It takes however much ribbon it takes me to go all the way around my circle, okay? This length, if stretched out and I measure this length would be your circumference because it took this much ribbon to go all the way around, all the way around my circle like this. Okay, so that's your circumference, not the inside, it's just the outside. And when we're dealing with circles, we deal with a super cool number called pi. I'm sure you've heard of this. This is pi. It looks like this. Sometimes it has a squiggle top. Sometimes it just looks like a little table. And I'm sure you have also noticed this is a number that is on your calculator somewhere. So here's mine right here, pi. And when you hit enter, it's this huge, it's actually an infinite decimal. Okay, so that is the value of pi. It's 3.14159. It goes on forever. It's about roughly 3.14. This number pops up all over math, all over physics. It's this most amazing number. And the number is actually the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. And it's really interesting because it doesn't matter what size the circle is. It could be a really, really teeny tiny circle or a huge circle. And if you take the if you take the ratio of its circumference over its diameter, you will always get this very magical number pi. So anyways, we do need to use the symbol, this pi, when figuring out the circumference and area of a circle, which is what we're doing in this video. But this is nothing that you have to remember. You probably will remember that it is 3.14 in time. But for this unit, you also do get a calculator. So I'm going to have my calculator out here for you to see what I type in. Okay, so we're going to do some practice problems. What you also get in this unit is some formulas. Okay, so you will always be given the formula for circumference and area. So you'll be given either a picture, something like this, or some sort of situation about a circle, and maybe you have to solve for its circumference and area. You'll be given these two things though, and you can use a calculator again. Okay, so let's figure out my little circle right here, circumference and area. I'm gonna use orange. And I'll go ahead and label this. I see that this ray is going all the way across. Okay, it's going all the way across, so that is the diameter. So the diameter is 15, which means the radius, okay, the radius is just this distance, half of your diameter. So half of 15 is 7.5, which is okay. I know we don't really like decimals, but that's cool because we have a calculator, so it's not going to be too bad. How do I find the circumference? So all you have to do for these formulas, you're given those, is you need to plug in your radius. Okay? This pi always stays the same. This 2 and pi always stay there, no matter what. Stays part of your formula. So really all you have to do is take your radius value and put it in there. Okay, so my circumference of this particular circle is going to be pi times, and this is multiplication, right? Side by side multiplication times your radius. My radius is 7.5 ooh, that's, here, I'm going to put parentheses because that multiplication sign and my decimal were looking very similar. So I'm going to put that in parentheses, still means multiplication, and I'm going to take this number and square it, which means we want this number twice, remember? Squared means. Okay, so that's what you're going to type into your calculator. Let's see it. So pi, here's my symbol, times 7.5 squared, which means times 7.5. One more time. So the circumference of this circle is 176 and 7/10. And maybe it'll say, you know, round to the nearest hundredth place or thousandth place. We'll just go one decimal place for this, for these problems, but do take note of whatever it says. Okay, so your circumference. So for this circle, if I were to, you know, string some rope all the way around, it should be this length. That's how much string I would need, or how much ribbon I would need. Or maybe this is a fence. Maybe you're fencing a circle in. Okay, let's try to find our area. What about the inside? Maybe I'm growing some grass on the inside of the circle, and I need to know what is the area? How much is inside the circle? Same thing. I'm going to use this formula already given. Only thing I'm going to plug in is that radius. So area is 2 times pi times my radius is 7.5. Whoops. Here, I'll use parentheses again because I have that dot. I don't want it to look too close to a decimal. So 2 times pi times 7.5. That means my area for this circle is 74.1. And we don't really have units for this, but maybe in a word problem, it's talking about inches or centimeters or feet. Okay, so you may have some units there, but this would be our area for this particular circle. Okay, we're gonna keep on going. Have another circle here. I see that it goes all the way across, so that must be diameter. Label it on here. Diameter is 22, which means my radius is half this distance, right? This is radius, this is radius. Diameter is 2 radii maybe. So your radius is 11, and we're just gonna plug in these values in our formulas to figure out circumference and area. So circumference of this circle now is pi times your radius again, because it's radius squared. You just need to plug that in. Pi times 11 times 11, or pi times 121, 380.1. So your circumference is 380.1. That's how much goes all the way around the outside. Area, we're going to do the same thing. Let's just plug in those numbers. 2 times pi times your radius, 11. Okay. 2 times pi times 11. Area for this particular circle is 69.1. Okay, so that is the distance, or that is how much is on the inside of my circle. Okay. I have 2 more examples, and then I think that's good enough for you guys to get the hang of this. Okay. Let's pick another color, some purple. Now it could be a word problem, you know, I might say, again, I guess this is the only example I can think of. Oh, maybe a cookie. Okay, so maybe I'm baking a giant cookie, and I'm just icing. It's like a cookie cake. I'm icing the outside, and I want to know what is the distance of the outside of my cookie. That's your circumference. So it is given me from the center to the side, which means that must be our radius. So my radius is 9, and I'm just going to label my diameter. I don't really need it in my equations here, but just to practice, remember your diameter goes all the way across. So this sort of radius, another radius right here, that would be 18. Let's solve for my circumference. The distance around this circle is pi times your radius squared. Radius is 9. You can do 9 times 9 like I have been doing. You can say pi times 9 squared, whatever works for you. Again, you get a calculator for this unit. Pi times 9 times 9, 81, and your circumference is 254.46. So I'm going to round up to 5. Now let's solve for our area. We just need to plug it in. 2 times pi times r, which is 9. And actually for this formula, what you'll notice is it could also be area is 2 times your diameter. Because if we're doing 2 times our r every single time, double our r, that is your diameter, right? So you could also do a little shortcut here and just multiply pi times your diameter to find your area. Whatever your formula sheet says, you don't have to memorize this. 2 times pi times r, plug it in. Your area for this particular circle is 56.5. One more example. Okay, so this one also gives me my radius is 13, which means my diameter is double this length, 26. You're given these formulas. Let's solve for circumference. Circumference is pi times your radius, which is 13, squared. Okay, so if you want to write it like that in your scratch work, you could do that if you know that that means pi times 13 times 13. Pi times 13 times 13. So the circumference of this circle is 530.9. And then your area is 2 times pi times your radius is 13, which is also the same thing as pi times your diameter, which is 26, because that is 2 times your radius, whichever one is easier for you. Okay, so pi times 26. For this circle, the area is 81.68. I'm going to round up to 7. All right, easy enough.